Hi, I'm Sally and this is the tutorial for my Eeyore charm. I will be using bands by Loom for this design, and all the bands I'm using are included in the Mega Value Pack, which is available from Amazon. So let's get started. So taking your loom in a staggered configuration, the arrows pointing towards you, we're going to start by making his ears. So I'm going to use purple, same as I have done in the one I've just shown you. So taking a single band, you want to put it around the top two pins but twist it in the middle so it's like a figure of 8. And then we're going down 5 times with double bands. Okay, so just 2 bands together, and we're just doing a chain of 5 of these double bands. So that's 4 and 5. I'm going to do the same down the centre. So again, I'm using 2 bands together, going down 5 times. Like so. We're now going to make the pink sort of inner ear part. This is what you should have so far. So we're making this pink part in the ear here. So I'm going to use a pale pink for this part. So I'm going to make a chain of 4 using double bands of the pale pink, and yeah, I'm going down 4 times. So that's 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to add bands in this to attach this section to this section. So I'm going to use a single purple band. I'm going to wrap it around the pin so it doubles back on itself. So you're just wrapping it around. So if, very noisy aeroplane, I do apologise. So if once it's just placing the band over like this, you just want to take it around again. Okay, so you just cross it over and double it. Same again, so you're just taking it around each pin. So you're doing it on the bottom 4 pins here. The top one won't need one because we can just use the open part of the chain for that. So now we can loop up. So taking your hook, you're going inside the doubled over band, just looping forward the pink bands. Like so, and then you can remove this and you'll be able to see in this part that you have the little circle bands in there. And it's these that are going to attach to this part. So we are starting around these 2 pins, I do believe. We just double check that because I've just had a complete blank on it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're starting the second ones down. Just for a minute there, I completely doubted myself. Okay, so you want to put it over the 1 pin and then stretch it over so it's like this. so you've got the one band stretched around the 2 pins. Then going to pull down this extension piece, finding the next, or the first little circle band, and you want to take the circle around both sides. This can be quite difficult to do. And these daisy loom bands are really nice. You keep getting, they're fruit scented, so you keep getting sort of the scent of the fruit, rather than the sort of normal, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but that horrible smell that you get with like really cheap bands that can sometimes give you a headache, make you feel a bit funny. You don't get that with these bands, so it's nice. Makes a refreshing change. So now we're going to add a cap band onto these 2 pins at the bottom. If you need more time, then just pause. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap these around. Just wrap it around 2 or 3 times around the bottom pin. Just pause if you need more time, come back when you're ready. That's fine. Okay. Once you've done this, again, you can loop. So we're going inside this cap band, pushing back, and you want to find the bottom 2 bands. So going inside these bands that are holding the pink part on, just push them all back, and you're just looping forward the the bottom 2, and we're just working up along the chain. And we will need to make another one of these, which will be the next thing that we do. And if you do like Winnie the Pooh and the Winnie the Pooh characters, I do also have a Pooh Bear, a Piglet, and a Winnie the Pooh's honey pot as well on my channel. So have a look at those as well. Start work on Tigger, I think, so I've got the full set. Okay. And once you've looped up, like so, to take your hook inside this pin here and pull up this band. Just hold it on your finger for now. Go inside the other top hook, find the other band, take it on your hook, place both ends of the bands on your hook, and then the one that is closest to the handle of your hook, bring down and tug to secure. Then you can remove this from your loom. Okay. So ensure that this tying off band is secure and it's tight. Stretch it out if you need to. And the daisy loom bands, they do hold their shape a lot better than other bands, so I quite like them. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go through. I'm just going to choose 2 bands on the back here, whichever side you want to be the back, taking my hook through, taking this tying off band, placing it around the end of my hook, and I'm just going to pull it through those bands, so just underneath the band, and I'm going to repeat this until the band is hidden. So again, I'm just taking 2 of the bands of the ear and my hook and pulling through the tying off band until I'm happy that it's out of the way, because we won't be needing this band for anything else. There we go. Okay, so there we have one ear. I'm going to again make the second ear, but I'll try and work a little bit quicker this time. So figure of 8, going down with 2 bands together 5 times on each row. Grab a few more bands. Making the pink middle part next. Adding in the little bands to attach this with on the bottom 4 pins. And that one just untwined itself. There we are. Okay. Looping up. Removing the pink part, and we're going to put it on top of the purple. Looks cool. There we go. And adding in the little circle bands. So you should have 2 bands each time. If you wrap it around, you may have to dig around a little bit in this chain to find it, but it will be there. So I realised there's loom slips and you couldn't see. And then we're nearly there with this second ear. Oops. I only have one. There we go. So make sure you have 2 bands. I've just popped it around the bottom pin just so I haven't got to keep pulling it out. This band does not want to be got on my head. There we go. Got it in the end. Whoops. And just pulling that last one across. Adding cap bands on the bottom 2 pins. And also these bands that we've added on for the extension also works as horizontal bands. So they just help to hold it all together as well. And then again I'm going to loop up, so pushing back all bands, and just looping forward the bottom 2. And again, we're going to take this figure of 8 band so we can tie off this part. Just going to hold that on my finger, taking the second one on my hook and slip knotting it, putting it tight. I'm going to remove it. Stretching it out and hiding this tying off band. So just going in, if I can, through here. My hook cover keeps sliding. I'm just going to take that off for a minute. I think my hook's a little bit small for it. And again, I'm just working down, hiding this band. There we go. So now we have 2 ears for our Eeyore. We're going to make the hair. I'm just going to grab some more bands. There we go. Right, so for the hair, we're just making very short single chains. So, just with the single band as well. And we're going to go down 3 times with our single band, and we're going to cap it off. So just single band is wrapped around 2 or 3 times. We're going to make a total of 5 of these chains of 3. So 1, okay, so that's 3. We just need to make another 2. And this is the last one of 3 that we're going to make. So we've got 5 lots of 3 chain, sort of 3 bands in each chain, capped off. They're all single bands all the way through. We're going to make 4 chains of just doing it, going down twice now for the shorter parts of his hair. So as we've just done, but with 2 instead of 3. And you can just work in the middle if you need more space. So we're nearly there. And then we can start making the main part of his face. Started too far down. So just wherever you can. We'll be removing these anyway, so. And again, I'm going to loop these up. So I'm just pushing the cat band back. Cat band even. Cat band. And I'm just looping up each one of these little chains. So I've looped up all of the little chains. I'm going to place them on a holding hook now. If you don't have a holding hook, you can just place them at the bottom of your loom. But I'm going to use the hook just to keep the loom clear, so there's nothing distracting on it. So I'm just putting them off. And if you want less hair, then make fewer chains. If you want more, then obviously make more. So it's entirely up to you, but I'll just show you how I made the one that I showed you in the beginning. So now we can start making the main part of his face. So taking 2 bands, placing over this top pin here. 2 bands again, going diagonally out on both sides, like so. We're going down 3 times each side. Still with 2 bands. So this is a really nice purple colour. I think it suits Eeyore well. It's a bit of an odd colour to do. Sometimes he sort of looks blue, sometimes he looks purple, and other times he looks more grey. So I think it's just down a bit of artistic licence, I think. You just do whatever you like. You could do a fluorescent green, fluorescent yellow, anything really. I don't think he'll mind. You never know, doing a sunny colour might put a smile on his face, if donkeys do smile. But anyway, so this is what we have so far. So I've gone down 3 times on each column. We're now going to make his his muzzle, his nose. So we're switching and using pink, and we're just going down on each side. Okay, so once, twice and once. We're going to close this design off, like so. Placing a cap band on this bottom pin down here. And now we're going to make his eyes. So I'm taking 2 white bands, 2 black bands, and with the Mega Value Pack, and also a purple, with the Mega Value Pack you do get extra black and white, so you get loads, and they come in they are really useful. You can never have too much black or white. So I'm just taking the black band, one of the black bands, and I'm just wrapping it around my hook 3 times. Taking the white band, and I'm wrapping it twice on one side of the black band, twice on the other. So you have something like this, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. And this isn't my design for this kind of eye. I think it's DIY Mummy, though I'm not 100% sure on that. But full credit to whoever came up with it, because it's really good. But I'm just saying, this isn't my idea for doing it this way. The whole design is, just the eyes aren't mine. And I'm borrowing them for this one. Taking a single purple band, or whatever colour you've done the sort of upper part of the face. Just going to slide these bands over and on to the single purple band. Try and keep them in the same order as they are on your hook. So once they're on your band, you can place them on your loom, and they're going across the pins that are second down on each side. Separating the eyes out. And I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to place it between these two bands that are on the eye, the band that the eyes are on, and I'm lifting the top one over this pin here. Okay. So I have one pin running on, one band even running across here, and then one around the top of the pin. Next we are going to add on his ears. So taking one of your ears, and along where you've got the pointy end where you tied it, and the flat end where you put the two cap bands on, you want to take the band that's running across the bottom of the sort of flatter end, and just pull this out and put it around the first pin on each side, and you want to angle them downwards. Now he's starting to look a little bit more like Eeyore. Okay, so it's like this. And the last thing we need to do before we loop, other than add on triangle bands, is add on his hair. So the way I've done this is I've placed two longer parts on the same pin as the ear, so that I have one sort of coming down and one sort of going up, and sort of angling them, and then having two smaller ones on this pin here, and then one of the longer ones also on this pin but down, angled down. It's entirely it's entirely up to you how you put them on, however you want them to be, but this is the way that I've done it. So I'm just gonna put one, and there's it sort of sticking. His hair sort of goes all over the place anyway. I suppose it's really his mane. But the hair on his head sort of goes all over the place. So if you need to, just pull down, push down the bands on each pin, and those bands across. So I'm just going to uncross them. There we go. So this bit's, oops, came off my hook. So really it's just sort of higgledy-piggledy, just pop them wherever. I think as long as you've got some sticking up on top, it doesn't matter too much. And the longer bit coming down at the front. So I sort of have the two bits sticking up like this. I can't find the other long bit now. That's smaller, that's longer, and that's longer. Yes, that's right. Just going to pop the longer ones on first. So I'm popping this on here, and I'll tell you what I've done again in a moment, because it's a little bit all over the place because the way they've gone on. Sort of, they got a bit mixed up, the long ones and the shorter ones. Now I have two equal ones. I think I'm just going to pop them. You do end up with a lot of bands around the top three pins, but it's worth it. So just keep pushing them down if you need to. What's going on with this one? This one's just decided he does not want to go on that pin. There wasn't enough room, that's why. Right, so I've got all of my hair on now. So the way I've laid my hair out is I have a long one sticking upwards on this pin, and then a long one angled down, and then a shorter one sort of diagonal towards his eyes. And then on the centre pin I have 2 shorter ones making sort of a V shape on the top here, and then a longer one angled downwards. And then on this pin I've mirrored what I've done on this pin, so I have the longer one here, a longer one coming down, and then a longer one going in towards his eyes. Next I'm going to add on some triangle bands, and this will hold the whole design together. So I'm placing 2 pink ones here and here, and 1 purple one, and I'll show you again in a moment. So you only need 3 of the triangle bands, because you've got your eye band which will act as a triangle band as well. And once you're at this stage, you can now loop, so going in through this pink cap band at the bottom. We're just taking the top 2 bands, being careful you don't pull your cap band off, which does happen sometimes, and hooking it to whichever pin it's come from. Taking the next 2, pulling them around the pin, hooking them on, and then the last 2. My cap band's just come off, so I'll just stretch this back over. If yours does come off, then don't worry, it will be fine, but just so I can show you what it should look like, I'm trying to keep mine as similar to what yours should look like as I can, and I'm just looping up. So you're just pushing back the triangle bands as you go. I'm going to tackle the hair in a minute because it's going to be a little bit more tricky because there are a lot of bands on the pin. So I'm just looping up and over the eyes. And on the far side, just looping. Okay, so now I have the last one on each column and the diagonal one still to do. So I'm going in through this pin here that's got the eye band around it, and I'm just going to loop forwards like normal. And you just have to slightly adjust the hair as you go. But it doesn't matter how much adjusting you do, there's always going to be some that get caught, so we can just sort it out at the end. Going in through this pin, you want to find the bottom 2 and then loop them into the centre. I'm just going to have to slightly tilt mine so I can see. And just make sure your ear doesn't get pulled out of angle, so it stays facing downwards as I Eeyore. And my band's just poking out again, so I'll sort that out in a second once it's looped. Okay. So again, looping up, going in through this pin and into the centre. Once again, I'm going to have to move my loom because there's so many bands and things on this pin that I can't see otherwise. There we go. Coming around and whoops. Neither of them want to go on that one. Just because there's so many bands on there, there's not much space. And looping up this one last in the centre. Once you're all looped up, you can tie it off. So this is what you should have, like so. So you have 2 bands here. Take your hook, go in through this centre pin here, find those 2 bands by pushing all the other bands back once you have them on your hook, which is not easy to do. It will be tight. Okay, so just bring them round. It's just because you have so many bands on here, it does get very tight. Okay. So I have both ends of that band on my hook. I'm going to take the top two, as we did with the ear, and take it over the end of my hook, and I'm going to pull as tight as I can. And once this band is secure, you can remove this from your loom. And here we have a slightly strange looking Eeyore. So what you will need to do, depending on which side you want to use, but either way, you will need to pull the hair through, and you may have to sort of move the bands around just to get them to sit straight. And just play with it until it's as you want it to be. Just push the hair through to give him his funky hair. Okay, and then once you've got it as you want it, you can just move bands out the way. But you've got your two bands in the middle of his forehead. You just pull them out the way and pull one through if you want one in there. Just manoeuvre it as you need to. Make sure that the eyes are okay. You haven't got the bands crossing in the wrong place, so his eyes look straight. You will notice that his ears stick up. You can tug these down, but if they're still not playing ball, which they don't sometimes, we can attach them to the face so they do stay down. So if you just take a single purple band through the side of his face, just take two bands, position his ear as you want it, take another, push your hook so it's going through the side of his face and through his ear, and then just slide a single band through and slip knot it. It will just hold them down, and then you can just wrap that band back around the ear to hide it. Okay, and you can do the same the other side as well. I think you got that, so I'll do that in a moment. So there we have, if you just ignore this here, our Eeyore. So I hope you like him. He's gone a bit wonky, but he's there. There we go. So you can see the difference between using what I call normal bands and Daisy Loom bands. Daisy Loom bands do come up bigger, they're more chunky, but they do hold their shape better because of it, and they do look a lot nicer as well, I think, a lot clearer. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed making this and you're pleased with what you've made. I will put the details for the pack of bands that I've used for this design in the description below. But it's a Daisy Loom Mega Value Pack. I am on Twitter, Instagram, forgot what I was saying, sorry, and Facebook, and the details for all of those are also in the box below. So please hit like and comment, let me know what you think of the design and of the tutorial, and hit subscribe to be notified when I bring out new tutorials, which I'm trying to do every couple of days at the moment. So that's that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.